Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today? I'm coming on for a quick live to say hi to you guys, so I'll wait for a few of you to join me. I wasn't really, I didn't announce in advance that I was going to come live, but I thought, why not? It's a beautiful sunny day. It feels like spring, and I love all you guys very much. So it's always a pleasure to be here with you. And yeah, I think it's going to be a nice day here in sunny Ottawa. It's sunny, it's bright, it will hopefully be warm. We'll see. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, Corey. Nice to see you. Hey, Heather. Good morning. Nice to see you as well. Hopefully, you guys can hear me and see me okay. Um, yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying. Good morning, Megan. Nice to see you. Good morning. You too, Corey. Thank you. Hey, Amanda Wells, how are you? And Bobby Joe Smith, nice to see you as well. So, how's everyone doing this morning? I am doing well, Em. Thank you. I just finished a workout. I did some intense cardio, so I'm a little zonked from that. I don't know if anybody else likes to exercise here, but I'm like a bit of an exercise addict, maybe even not quite addict, but I love exercising. And yeah, I just did a really solid workout. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Maureen. Nice to see you. And Brian. Good morning, Megan. So, how's everyone's day going? I know it's only like, at least if you're in the Ottawa area, it's like 9:30 a.m., so it's a little bit early. Um, Jennifer says, I need a workout. High anxiety today. I'm sorry to hear that, Jen. Definitely, working out is very grounding. So if anybody feels anxious, ungrounded, there's like a few different things that you can actually um, do to help that. Like some people do find like either cardio or weightlifting to be very, very grounding because it makes you focus on your body, right? So it brings you into your physical space. The other thing that can help with some people is temperature change. So if you're in a warm environment, move to a cooler environment. If you're a cold environment, move to a warmer one. And I don't mean move as in like pack up your stuff and like move, but just moving temporarily to a different room of a different temperature. Some people find that helpful as well. Wow, Danielle, you lost 15 pounds. Congratulations. Well, if you were working at it, congratulations. Um, that's amazing. Courtney says your eyes are so blue today. You guys are seeing me in the light of day. It's rare. Usually I'm here at night. Um, very much so, Aaron. I agree. Cannot stress the importance of grounding and protecting your energy. Absolutely. Carrie Ann, 8:30 here in Wisconsin. That's early. I mean, it's only an hour earlier, but in my mind, in the morning, every hour counts. Christine says 12:30 a.m. here in Sydney and a pleasant evening after all the wet. Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. MB Cert, I know you're not doing readings. However, my friend's son has been missing from the Ottawa area 7 days now. Any insight would be so appreciated. I would be happy to try and help, and they would have like the family themselves would have to reach out to me. And again, understanding that I've both been very right with missing persons and like really right and also wrong. So with that disclaimer, I'm happy to help. My only concern ever with missing persons is to put people in the wrong direction. But if it's been 7 days, I'd be happy to try to help. But the family themselves would have to reach out to me directly. All right. And I do those free of charge, by the way. I do not charge for any missing persons cases at all. Not at all. Gail says something is stopping me from losing weight. Fear. Well, I think emotions play a huge role in that for sure, for everybody, not just for you, but for everybody. The other thing that can play into it as well is things like hormone balance, and like nutritional balancing and things like that. So there can be like different, a lot of different causes for somebody to retain weight, and definitely emotions have a huge part of it because at the end of the day, not to rain on our emotional experiences, but at the end of the day, our emotions are chemical. That doesn't take away from how special and amazing and universally spiritually connected our emotions are, but at the end of the day, they are chemical. And so our emotions do play a huge role in our body's physiology and the way that we function and the way that we hold on to and let go of things. So I think there's absolutely reasons that could do that for sure. And fear is a strong emotion. I mean, fear is linked to things like cortisol, which is not good for weight loss at all. It's an important, it's an important chemical that we have in our bodies, but in the right balance. Yeah. So Danielle says, I was kind of better eating habits, exercise would improve that. Absolutely, man. Like I don't know if any of you knew me from like, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I was like 400 pounds at my heaviest in 2011. I think that was 2011 to 2013. I was at my heaviest and I was like literally 400 pounds. So, it is something that it's a hard shift to make. It's a very hard shift to make. So, I think it's something that, yeah, and says, Matt, I recently saw a memory you posted from a few years back. You've lost so much weight. You're looking incredible. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been definitely a journey. I started my weight loss slash health journey. I didn't even plan on losing weight, actually. I had like really bad type 2 diabetes and it was getting scary. I mean, I was getting like the physical symptoms of that, like the crappy stuff. And yeah, I woke up one morning and I had a really gross rash on my back, and I knew immediately what it was. But I was in denial for like another 4 or 5 days. And then I woke up one morning and I was like, I need to test my blood sugar. And so, I went out and got a glucometer, and my fasting sugar was 14, which is not good. And so, yeah, it definitely took, that day was the day I changed everything. I woke up and I was, scared. And I remember calling my doctor crying, and I was like, I need help to turn this around before it's too late. And I had been diabetic for a long time. I just didn't care. And I didn't want to be judged for eating the things I wanted to eat or not exercising or whatever. So I just didn't really tell anybody. But that morning I woke up and I felt really sick, and my fasting sugar was 14. And knowing what I was eating all the time, that probably put my after meals or end of day at least sugar to like 30, which is a lot. So that day I called my doctor. She prescribed me metformin. I went on that for a while. I talked to every friend of mine who worked in nutrition and fitness and all of that, and they really everyone came together and really helped me. So that day, I remember talking to my doctor on the phone. Well, actually, I think it was a video chat. And then my roommate was like throwing everything out of the cupboards that was bad. And we went to the grocery store and we got healthy food. And it was literally from breakfast that day until now, I've eaten clean and started exercising. And then weight just started to fall off. So sometimes we have to be terrified, I think, because I had tried before and it just never worked. And so that time that worked. That I was so freaked out. And there was other symptoms happening too, but all of that together was enough to say, nope, I'm done. I'm gonna take care of myself. So I did, and I'm glad. So Amanda says, how do I ease my mind with a recent scary diagnosis? That's a really, really hard, that's a really hard one, Amanda. I've had a scary diagnosis outside of the diabetes stuff as well in the past. My only advice is to breathe through it, to know, like, to kind of sort of look at what can you do about it right now to fix it. If the answer is nothing, then you just have to try to let it go and breathe through it, and put support or whatever in place, kind of come up with a loose plan of how you're going to tackle the illness. But overall, like, the most important thing is, if you can't fix it immediately, grieve it, go through the emotions of it, feel the fear, all of that. But at the end of the day, let go of everything that you can't control. So that's very, very important. Aileen says, Matt, are there not various body types, each with different requirements and limitations when it comes to dietary requirements? So yes, generally speaking, like, different body types do require different, especially different calorie levels and things like that. So, I mean, there's a difference between nutrition to lose weight and exercise to lose weight. And there's a difference between nutrition and exercise to maintain health. Like there's a lot of different components to building, like a health goal, right? So yeah, body type comes into it. Goals are a big one. One thing that a lot of people try to do is they try to crash diet. So they'll, cut out all the bad stuff overnight, and then they will, be like that for a while. But the problem is that kind of shocks the body, right? Like it can be really, really hard. So you need to make sure that your nutrition is balanced. One thing that I tell people to do, if they want to do an experiment, I don't know, this is not what I planned on talking about, but I go with the flow. So if you want to do an experiment that's kind of fun and interesting and kind of educational, so first of all, I believe our bodies are really smart. I mean, next level underestimated smart, right? And so next time you have a craving for something, whether it be good food or not good food, doesn't matter. Try to look up what nutrients are in that. So the macronutrients, so proteins, carbs, and fats, but also the micronutrients like vitamins and minerals. Then figure out, like, take the one that's like, let's say the biggest one or the second biggest one, and research what deficiency looks like in for those nutrients. You'll be amazed. Most people will realize in that moment just how smart their body is. For example, when people crave chocolate, and I mean really crave chocolate, usually they have symptoms of magnesium deficiency, which is a very common deficiency in North America. So yeah, and chocolate is full of magnesium. Dark chocolate especially is full of magnesium. So like there's a lot of cool things like that, where our bodies know what we need to eat to get what we want. Whether it's healthy or not is a completely different story, but our body will be like, oh, I know that I need this nutrient, and I know that when this person eats potato chips, let's say potassium, when they eat potato chips, I get the potassium, so I'm going to make them crave the potato chips. And so if you can learn about the nutrients that are in food, two things usually happen. One, you get a lot of insight into the cravings that you have. The second thing is that you learn to appreciate what is in our diet, what is in our food, and what we actually need. There's actually a really good book. Give me 1 second. I'll go get it. Hang on. I have an office chair with wheels so I can glide over. Okay, so this book is amazing. If you want to learn about nutrition and vitamins and minerals and how to get it without pills, and I mean, some people need to supplement with supplements no matter what. If people have really bad vitamin deficiencies, food might not be enough. But if you are interested in learning about the kinds of nutrients that are in what we eat, this book is great. And what I like about it, one of my favorite parts about it, is that there are recipes in it, and there are also sort of like guidelines and the best way to prepare it to get the most out of it. So for example, carrots, very high in beta carotene, which is a precursor to other vitamins, and that's amazing. But if you eat them raw, you don't really get a lot out of them, right? You need an oil to help with that. And so if you kind of cook them in olive oil or something, and I don't mean like deep fry them, I mean like gently saute them in some olive oil, then cooking them like that actually helps you to get the most nutrients out of it. So there's some really, really cool ways to look at nutrition, which is a completely other story, but it is something that is cool. Linda says, I eat what my body craves. Carrots and tomatoes happen often. So tomatoes are like hang on. Forgot to turn my phone off. Tomatoes are really high in antioxidants, lots of vitamin C in tomatoes. So, there's like a lot of different nutrients in what we eat. And then there are some things that are not nutrient dense at all, right? That taste good, and that's okay too. All right, so let's move on. Lisa says, could you show the title of the book? Yes. It is called Eat Your Vitamins. Eat Your Vitamins, and it is by Masha Davis, who is a dietitian. And I think she did a great job. I first heard about this book coming out like 6 months or a year before it was actually released, and I pre-ordered it because I thought that it was really, really cool. And it really is a great, easy to understand, a really easy to understand book. So it's not crazy complicated. Erica says, what would be a good book to buy for my son who has IBS? I'm honestly not sure. I would imagine that there are lots out there, and IBS is a jerk, right? Because part of it is dietary, a huge part of it is mental emotional, right? And I would imagine maybe there are even workbooks out there, but I don't know enough about IBS other than I know people who have it to really know. All right. Amanda says, I was diagnosed with leukemia, waiting for treatment approval. It's scary because I don't know much about it, reading lots. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about that, Amanda. And leukemia is a hard one. It's a hard one. And I really hope that you'll get treatment ASAP. And I will keep you in my prayers, my friend. If you need anything, let me know. Amanda's a friend of mine, so I'm happy to help if I can, for sure. Yeah. Carolyn has a suggestion for IBS there for you, Erica. Yeah, so Roselle says, I have spinal stenosis. Is there anything I can do? Yeah, there's different types of posture exercises that you can do for spinal stenosis, but I would highly recommend seeing a physiotherapist for that. I think I would, or an exercise therapist, one of the two. I would be cautious to try to fix it without that kind of guidance because you don't want it to go the other way. Um, Erica says he's also on a FODMAP diet, but also allergic to all natural sugars. Oh my God, Erica, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. Andrea says, good morning. Can't wait for meditation and reading tonight. Me too. Oops, somebody's at the door. Yeah, I can't wait for that as well, Drea. I'm looking forward to it. I love meditation and messages night. It's got to be probably my favorite event. That and courses are my two favorite events. So if anyone's interested, there are still some spaces left tonight. I think because it's St. Patrick's Day, it might be a little bit of a quiet quiet evening. But I'm excited about it. And who knows, maybe a bunch of people sign up at the last minute. But it's $25. We start with a guided meditation. I channel it like in the moment. It's not pre-written on any level. It comes through just in the moment. And then once we've kind of completed that, then I do messages and readings for as many people in the chat as I can until I'm like tapped out, and then that's it. It's slated for 1 hour, but sometimes it goes over. Well, actually, usually it goes over an hour, but it's definitely a lot of fun. And the feedback on it so far from all the ones I've done is that people really like it. A lot of people get very emotional during the meditation because it's always geared towards healing and sometimes releasing things or whatever. So Dre says, how many spaces are left? I'm honestly not sure. There's definitely some though. I'd have to look. Here's the link if anybody wants to sign up for it tonight. Let's see. Somebody's suggesting probiotics. Probiotics can be good, but it really depends on what you're taking them for. And so, for example, like if somebody had, let's say, like high histamine levels, some people during like seasonal allergies, their anxiety levels go up and things like that. Part of that could be because their histamine levels go up, and that can cause some anxiety. Histamine's important, but in the right amounts. And certain types of the bacteria in probiotics can produce histamine, right? And so you'd want to make sure that if you have high histamine that's causing a problem already, that you are taking a probiotic that eats histamine or metabolizes histamine rather than creates histamine. There's a really cool guy. Actually, he's from Ottawa, and his name's Jordan Fallis, and he has done so much research into things like that. And I would totally recommend checking him out. He's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Megan says, I just wanted to share last time I had a wonderful connection and huge flow of energy after the last meditation night. Super powerful. Well, thank you for sharing, Megan. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Um, Paula says, I don't discuss weight as people gain and lose for many reasons. People say I'm too skinny, where I don't see what they do. I will say I think everyone has their own fat days, days where they feel bloated, uncomfortable, even people who are thin. Oh, totally, Paula. And everybody has a different weight that's healthy for them, right? And I think the way that weight is viewed a lot of the time is through a very old lens. So, I mean, ultimately too much extra body weight is not healthy, and it's one of those things where it's like a matter of time before problems develop, usually not in everybody but in a lot of people. Um, and and there are other people that will never have a problem with weight ever, like even if they're overweight, it will not cause a problem. So it depends on the person, but generally speaking, you want to be within a healthy weight level. But that said, body composition is actually, I think, more important. So, how much of the extra weight is muscle, lean muscle? How much of it is fat? How much of it is water weight? All of those things, I think, are actually more important. That's why a lot of trainers don't use the BMI scale, the body mass index, because if you have muscle, like for example, so my body fat is around 17%, which is pretty good, but I also have a lot of muscle. So my BMI score is like morbidly obese, but I'm not. So, you know, I think body composition is the way to look at that. I think that's very important. Carolyn says, I found a nutritionist and she ordered a Pinner blood test and found I'm violently allergic to garlic. Crazy, but helps immensely. It's amazing what can happen in our bodies with dietary things. And I'm glad that was helpful for you. There is sometimes a concern with immunological testing for allergies. So, immunological testing would be like if they take a blood sample and they see what foods you're sensitive to, because a lot of people will show up as sensitive to a lot of things on those tests, but it doesn't mean that they actually are, in the sense that it will cause a problem. The best way to find out what your food sensitivities are to get a skin test done as well as the blood test, and they compare the results of both and see which one is actually causing an actual problem. But in your case, it sounds like that was super helpful, which is amazing. That is amazing. Kira Graves says, a week or so ago, I think my spirit guide contacted you because you described what I was doing in my house perfectly. That's super cool to hear. Kira, thank you for letting me know. Was that on a live? Well, must have been on a live. That's really cool. Um, Barb says, good morning, Matt. What a beautiful sunshiny day. It is a beautiful sunshiny day. It is. It's amazing. And it's supposed to be warm here in Ottawa today, which is awesome. That says, do you know most garlic is bleached? I did not know that. That's crazy. Kira says, yes, it was on a live. Well, that's super cool. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. I love it when the spirit guide messages come through. They're probably some of my favorites just because they're like so weird. Like they'll just start describing what the person is doing. Just describing what the person is doing at the time they hear the message. I mean, to me, it's really unusual and kind of cool. They're one of my favorite ones to come through, and also because it feels like I'm hanging out with whoever the message is for a minute, because I feel like I'm standing in like their room or wherever they are. So I like that. Kira says, where are you? I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, which is normally a weird place to live weather-wise. And there's a lot of people from Ottawa here, so I know they'll agree with me. It rains only on the weekends. The sunshine only happens Monday to Friday between 9 and 5. Nobody can predict the weather. Christine says, Jess Johnson, oh, sorry, yes, tonight at his meditation readings for 25. Forgot it's not tonight there. I'm in Australia. Oh. Marley says, morning, Matthew, although it's afternoon by us here in South Africa. Yeah, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? I think you guys are what, 6, 7 hours ahead? Maybe? Marley says, I always seem to miss your readings due to the time difference. Yeah, it's definitely yeah, because that would put you guys like at 1 in the morning in South Africa when I do my lives on Monday nights. Yeah, I wish that I could figure out like the perfect time where everybody who wanted to be there could be there. Uh, I've thought about switching the date and time a few times to doing like something either a little bit earlier or way later, but even still, it's like you can never find the perfect time. Because I know there's even a lot of people on the West Coast in Canada that want, or sorry, West Coast in North America that want to watch, but they're like at work because it's like 4 o'clock when it's 7 here. And so at some point, maybe I'll figure out a new time to do live readings on. Open to suggestions. I'm open to suggestions, just nothing early in the morning because yeah, you don't want a reading from me before 12. That's for sure. Usually, anyway, unless I'm like really prepared for it. Good morning, Anne Marie Taylor Wild. Vidla, Anne Marie Taylor Vidler. Nice to see you. You too, Gail. You too. Kira says, can't please everyone. I like this one. I know it's really hard because like there are and this was a problem more so years ago, but yeah, I would have clients in like Malaysia, or even I've got a lot of clients in Australia and New Zealand, and we always have a bit of trouble figuring out the time sometimes. Good morning, Denise. Heather says, my girl turns 6 today. Well, happy birthday to your girl. That's amazing. That's exciting. I remember 6 years old. I was 6 years old in 1990, and we had just moved to Mississauga, Ontario, for like a very short period of time. And I went to a little Catholic school, and I remember the real estate agent's name was Mrs. Philippa from Mississauga. That's who got us the house we lived in for that year. Yeah, it was it was a it was a fun place to live for a 6 year old for 5 minutes. And then I moved to Carleton Place, which is what I consider my hometown because that's really where I feel like I grew up. Karen says, yes, I'm in Western Australia. Yeah, lots of people in Australia here. I find it amazing the way that this page has come together because there are people from everywhere. And I'm so grateful for that because I love learning about other cultures and what other people do and, meeting people from other parts of the world. Like to me, that's really exciting. And there are some little differences. I mean, obviously, climate-wise and flora and fauna-wise, there's big differences between Canada and Australia, but even still, there's a lot of differences that are small differences in the way that people talk and say things, and I think that that's really cool. I like that. And you guys have Vegemite, and one of my friends in Australia mailed me Vegemite, and I will say I don't understand it at all. I tried to understand it, and I just couldn't. I guess it's either you love it or you hate it. I didn't love it, but I know a lot of people do. And me and her have actually we've sent candy back and forth, and I guess a lot of the Commonwealth countries we have the same candy, but the US is not a part of the Commonwealth, and so the candy in Canada and the candy and chocolate bars and stuff in the US, there's a lot of different ones that aren't shared across the border, but yet there's ones in Canada that you find in Australia and the UK but not the US. It's kind of funny. Speaking of health and wellness and fitness, let's talk about candy. April says that would be amazing to explore other cultures. I think so too. I think it's a beautiful thing to do, and learning about other cultures. That's one thing I like about the area of the city that I live in is like I could walk down the street and hear 5 different languages probably before I hit the end of it, and I think that's amazing. Kathy says, good morning, Matthew. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you and yours. I think Mother Nature needs to go back on her meds. Weather's all over the place. Green grass in my yard one day, then 24 hours later, I can't get out of my driveway. Yeah, I can understand what that's like for sure. Maybe just throw some meds up in the sky and see what happens. Karen says, "Don't worry, I don't like it either. I think Vegemite should go." Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan at all. Karen says, "Love peanut butter." I think everyone loves peanut butter, and unless you're allergic to it, then maybe not. But peanut butter is pretty great. So, what is everybody up to for the rest of their day? Anybody have any cool, fun, crazy plans for their day ahead? Dre says, I want to try candy from Japan. That would be cool. Try Eastern European candy too. It's pretty good. Definitely different. I've had candy from Ukraine, and well, I mean, I'm sure they have similar candy too, but I've tried some traditional ones and they're very different. Kira says, might go to the beach. Well, that sounds pretty amazing. That sounds like a great day. Sharon says, Matt, I remember you from CP. Cool. Sharon Saunders. I wish I could click on your profile to see a picture, but I'm using StreamYard, so I can't. If I click on your thing, it will just highlight you at the bottom of the page. Linda says, C Place is growing like a wildflower. I believe it. Carlton Place is so beautiful. I love Carlton Place. Karen says, I'm just having a coffee, then heading to bed for me. Well, I hope that you sleep well, Karen. Cindy says, going to work this afternoon. Megan says, my son and I are going to float the river. That sounds cool. That sounds awesome. So either you are going on a boat or you're playing poker, and both of those sound like a lot of fun to me, for sure. Two of my favorite things. Anne-Marie says, working on a sale today and having some corned beef and cabbage tonight and ending it with a paint night on Zoom. Oh, that sounds like fun. I love paint nights. I really do. I love paint nights. They're super fun. Erica says, I want to go to a beach. I'm tired of all the snow we still have here in the Pakenham, Ontario area. Oh man, and Pakenham gets snow. Pakenham gets snow. I used to go skiing there all the time as a kid. Good morning, Richard. Nice to see you. Welcome. So, well, guys, thank you for chatting with me. This is an awesome way to start my day, so thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I hope that you all have an amazing day ahead. And I like the eclectic conversation that we have when these chat lives come up, because we talk a little bit about everything, which is also what we do on craft night. So if anybody is around tomorrow night, usually around 8 p.m. ish, give or take, I come on and do a craft and chat night. And it's kind of like this, only I make something while I'm doing it. Usually, sometimes it's just a chat, but try to make something. So if you guys are around tomorrow night, you're welcome to join me on that. It'll be here on my page. I only do them on Facebook though. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you have to come over to Facebook for that. But if you are interested, you are welcome to join me for that. And if you want to take part in the meditation and messages night tonight, it's $25. It's 7 p.m. Eastern time. I do a channeled from spirit guided meditation for half an hour or so, and then we do half an hour plus of messages and readings for as many people as I can in the chat. And if you are interested in signing up, I will put the link in one more time. And you can check that out. I hope that you all have a beautiful day. I'll see you guys soon, I hope. Oh, tomorrow, where is it? I'm going to get the exact time because I don't want to mess it up. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern time, which would put it at 12 Pacific time. I will be on KKNW Seattle, and we'll be doing call-in readings. So if you're interested in listening to that, you can check that out. I'll post the link and everything tomorrow once we go on the air. But if you're interested, I will be on KKNW Seattle, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 noon Pacific time. Have a great day, everyone. Much love, and just know that that you are loved. You're loved by the entire universe, and even if you don't feel it, it doesn't mean it isn't there. And I'll leave you guys with that. Say God bless and wish you an amazing day. Bye for now.